Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is my town. Midwest bound. We right next door to Chicago. Come see how we clown. This is my town. Midwest bound. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is my town. Midwest bound. We right next door to Chicago. We right next door to Chicago. I'ma rep my city to the max, even though it's cold here. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Give me a cold beer.
Welcome to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 90 miles north of Chicago, home of the Brewers, the Bucks, with the Packers just up the road in Green Bay. Milwaukee is also home to some of the greatest racial segregation in the nation. Segregation most historically recognized by bridges, whites and Latinos on one side, blacks on the other. On the north side of the bridge, the black side, if you will, about 2 miles northwest of downtown, resides the Lindsay Heights neighborhood. This is where our story takes place. Bridges might represent separation to some, but we will show how our men in our neighborhood, despite all the adversity, are becoming bridges to each other.
My name is Terron, and I specialize in men's projects.
Meet Terron Edwards. Terron works in the Lindsay Heights neighborhood as the project coordinator for its neighborhood organization, Walnut Way, and is in charge of all the organization's work with men and young men. Terron was hired at Walnut Way back in 2014.
Our project no longer an island, at Walnut Way. Basically is a movement that was started, to create spaces, of commonality, spaces of networking, spaces of growth, spaces of love for the men in the Lindsay Heights neighborhood. Sometimes we'll have 2 of the 4, but I hardly ever see us have 4 of the 4, where we're just right, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, because it's just like with manhood, a lot of us, we actually pride ourselves, even us well-meaning guys, on, busting ourselves down, to be providers, or busting ourselves down to help, our families, or to help the next person. But it's just like we just commonly ignore ourselves. We commonly ignore, doing what's best for ourselves. From a young age, we taught to just man up and take it.
My name is Amir Perkins. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm 35 years old. I'm a father.
Meet Amir Perkins. Terron and Walnut Way's team brought Amir in about a year back as the men's wellness navigator. If you are a black man living in Lindsay Heights, Amir is the person from Walnut Way most likely to come and knock on your door, or to call and check on you. Amir contacts the men and youth of the neighborhood and ensures that they know about upcoming events and opportunities. He also canvasses the area with Terron and other program men, gauging needs, documenting strengths, as well as keeping a beat on the neighborhood and the new happenings. A former basketball standout at the local Rufus King High School, coming back home for good after going away to college to work in this neighborhood has been a joy for Amir.
Grew up here in Milwaukee, was in several foster homes, a group home here in Milwaukee, went on to finish my MBA in business and administration, along with my bachelor's in business and accounting. Heard about Walnut Way, heard a lot of great things. Being away from Milwaukee, heard a lot of great things about Walnut Way. Heard about the city and heard about the trials and tribulations my city was going through. Wanted to do something about it. One being canvass the area, talk to some of the neighborhood residents, preferably the men, young men, get some of their needs, feedback, try to link them with each other, more of a networking system. We conduct man groups so they can have that support system if they're not getting it at home.
Lindsay Heights, like its adjacent neighborhoods, Harambe and Bronzeville, are historically black neighborhoods going back to the days of the Great Southern Migration of African Americans. With manufacturing jobs on the rise and overt racism limiting opportunities, blacks from the South came to Milwaukee seeking their own slice of the American pie, similar to how they came to Detroit, Chicago, and other Midwest cities decades earlier. Encountering racist segregation practices, blacks in Milwaukee were only allowed to live in certain areas. Thus, our historic North Side neighborhoods were born. Here in Lindsay Heights community, systems were developed and bridges built to support more black Southern migrants. What is now the Walnut Way Center was a rooming house in those days, supporting men from the South as they worked, got on their feet, and sent for their families later on. Black business hubs like Walnut Street were created, consisting of everything from nightclubs to dentists to barbershops. People in historical Lindsay Heights and surrounding neighborhoods understood the bridge. The city's urban renewal projects and the clearance of land for the I-43 and I-94 freeway system in the 1950s and early 1960s put the nail in the coffin of the African American business hubs in our neighborhoods. After being forced to move their businesses, most attempted to rebuild, but closed for good soon after. Bridges were destroyed, so highways could be built. As the 1980s and 90s came, away went the family-sustaining factory jobs. In came drugs, poverty, and crime, leaving Milwaukee with some of the most disturbing disparities in black, white, educational achievement, joblessness, incarceration, health outcomes, and quality of life in the entire country. The Walnut Way House, which in the 1960s was a boarding house, had now been transformed into a crack den. There is no wonder this happened last summer in our city.
Next to Milwaukee, the National Guard called in after simmering tensions between police and residents boiled over. Take a look at this. Businesses and police cars set on fire, protesters hurling rocks at officers, and at least one of those protesters opening fire after police shot and killed a 23-year-old black man they say was armed.
It was 3:30 p.m. Police making a traffic stop, and the 23-year-old suspect, now being identified as Seville Smith, was armed. According to authorities, he fled on foot. An officer who was also black ordered him to drop his weapon, and when he didn't comply, fired several rounds, killing Smith. The officer was wearing a body camera.
Look, he got the plexi cuss.
Y'all just killed my cousin. Y'all just killed my cousin. Police report. Y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all don't prevent crime. Y'all react to it. We got family. Aim the body cameras up like they teach y'all, man.
Destruction visible. Businesses destroyed. 17 arrested, 4 officers hurt, a 16-year-old girl hit by a bullet in the chaos.
Tom, authorities have not yet released the footage from that officer's body camera, and tonight are hoping there is not a repeat of last night's violence. Tom?
Our county sheriff, David Clark, is known nationally for providing commentary on Fox News in response to movements like Black Lives Matter that are against police abuse.
My message has been clear from day one 2 years ago. This anti-cop sentiment from this hateful ideology called Black Lives Matter has fueled this rage against the American police officer. I predicted this 2 years ago. So what I want to know,
okay, Sheriff.
do I want to know?
With all due respect, do you know that this was because of that?
Yes, I do.
As a law enforcement officer?
I've been watching this for 2 years.
Sheriff Clark has been one of the most abrasive critics in Milwaukee's black communities during this quandary.
Because when you take in,
What does that have
when
to
you
do
take
with
in
Baton Rouge, Louisiana?
rates of involvement in violent crime, and crime in general, but violent crime, you're going to see that black males are overrepresented.
Yeah.
Overrepresented
Yeah.
in terms of being involved in violent crime. That's going to mean more arrests. That's going to mean more people going to prison. This stuff has already been debunked. We're talking about this hateful ideology called Black Lives Matter. You said you're not a member. You can't be a member. It's not an organization.
That's
no structure.
That's what you're talking about.
Listen, I understand,
and
it is a hateful
that you're
ideology.
I understand it's a very stressful time for you.
These individuals
And Sheriff, we appreciate you coming on.
They preach
Thank you.
vile and vitriol in the
Clark
name of...
believes more police and even harsher penalties are needed in a city that already incarcerates more black men than any other. Sheriff Clark used to be in charge of our local House of Corrections, but had its authority taken away after shutting down all educational, trade, and fatherhood programs in the facility. Only a very punitive version of boot camp was allowed for rehabilitation. In making this docufilm, we tried to reach Sheriff Clark for an interview. His office graciously declined. Good thing for our bridges, not everyone agrees with our sheriff.
My name is Dr. Ramel Smith. I am a licensed psychologist.
Meet Dr. Ramel Smith, or as we call him, the Blacksmith. Dr. Smith is a very well-respected psychologist that specializes in working with black males. He has worked with everyone from Milwaukee youth to the Milwaukee Bucks.
The reason that I'm attracted to psychology, the reason why I came to psychology, was because I'm a helper. I'm a helper at nature. I've always been one to try to help people when they were in difficult situations. I've been given an ability to have a compassionate ear, and an ability to kind of help people to guide their steps. So there's a lot of different things in which I do. I was the team psychologist for the Milwaukee Bucks for the past 2.5 years, and that was a great experience, but it was a great deal of traveling, a great deal of stress on my family being on the road, but also it took me away from the community to be able to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do.
A year or so back, Dr. Smith accompanied Terron, men from the wellness groups, and 15 youth from Lindsay Heights on a camping retreat for survivors of PTSD.
When I think about Walnut Way, one of the reasons I love the organization and what we're able to do so much is because, I just think about how, we've grown and though things aren't perfect, it's like, we right over on 17th and North. And I just think about 17th and North and what it was when I first moved to Milwaukee in the 90s. It's so funny because it's a parallel. It's like, it was a troubled neighborhood. It was actually a troubled house. And, I lost my father. I'm going through pain. I'm a young man, in some circles, in some people's eyes, I'm probably troublesome, so it's just funny, just to see this house get the reform and God bless, our founders, Mr. and Mrs. Adams, Sharon and Larry, and what they've done.
Sharon and Larry Adams are co-founders of Walnut Way, along with some other neighbors. They founded the neighborhood center in the late 1990s, purchasing that former crack house across the street and restoring it to its glory. Over the years, the Adamses worked to make it grow to a full-fledged organization, urban campus, complete with orchards, neighborhood improvement projects, wellness programming, and the ability to provide job and opportunities, reasonable housing to the neighbors. Walnut Way grows hundreds of pounds of healthy food a year and has made arms of wellness wrapped around the neighborhood, including the Men's Wellness Project. Last year, Sharon and Larry retired, but will forever be present in the Lindsay Heights neighborhood because in addition to now being members of the board for Walnut Way, which itself consists primarily of neighbors, Sharon and Larry still live across the street from the center. Prior to retirement, the Adamses unveiled Walnut Way's largest development yet, the Innovation and Wellness Commons.
Have a reconfigured building, totally remodeled, that we would have a state-of-the-art kitchen, that it would be a food hub with Outpost Natural Foods and the juice kitchen.
Just the development of this aspect of things shows confidence in what's possible.
Last year, Terron, Amir, and the men from the group hosted dozens of events over the summer, including Skate for Peace, fishing with youth, and assisted with Walnut Way's largest yearly event, Harvest Day. Much of the works of Walnut Way Terron and the men's groups are in direct response to the need and desire of the neighborhood and situations, both positive and negative, that occur. This last summer, Lindsay Heights suffered many killings, including the shooting of 5-year-old Zalea Jenkins.
Zalea was sitting in her living room watching TV with her 2-year-old cousin when police say a shootout between two groups started outside of her house on 15th and Meineke. A bullet flew through that living room window, striking the little girl.
Now grieving families, vulnerable neighborhoods, and Milwaukee police are left trying to figure out how to put a stop to this latest round of senseless violence.
Look at our society, we ask ourselves, what are we making? And when we look at this behavior, people are quick to say, oh, we got some thugs, we got some savages, we got some people exhibiting monstrous behavior. But the question is, what type of society do we have that creates this monstrous behavior? And when we talk about racial socialization, it goes back all the way to the beginning. When a person is growing up between the ages of 0 to 5, 90% of the brain is developed. And you know what it is? It's all of those systems inside of our brain that talks about how do we react with situations. We have two brains. You have a rational brain and you have an emotional brain. That rational brain is called your cortex. That emotional brain is called the subcortical region of the cortex. And when you start to deal with that, now you're talking about the side of the brain that's the fight or flight. This is the side that makes emotions, that makes decisions quickly because it could be life dependent. So when we start talking about young people who experience significant trauma at this time, now we got people who, you know what, we said, why don't you know right from wrong? Why don't you have these different morals and ethics? Well, either because they weren't taught or it didn't really get through because of other reasons, that was other traumas that was happening. So when you start to deal with this individual that our society has created, you often hear it as social engineering.
You know, the only emotions a lot of times that are that are even acceptable are, you know, aggressive or hateful emotions, you know, and that's why the murder rate is the way it is sometimes in our city.
Dr. Smith believes social spaces, like the ones that Walnut Way creates, are the solution. Terron and Amia actively seek out men from Lindsay Heights or that are connected to Milwaukee's North Side neighborhoods that are seeking that strong social space for personal growth, positivity, and a bridge to a circle of well-meaning men, and invite them to join one of the men's wellness groups.
I've been calling you.
Yeah, what's up with your phone?
Man, I'm having a little problem with my phone right now, you know, but you know, I still got the same address. My wife's phone should still be the same. That 7026 number. You can like always reach me on that one.
Now we still doing the groups. You know what I mean? Just wanted to actually come to invite you to a group face to face since we couldn't get you on the phone.
Right.
Yeah.
I know I missed a couple of meetings, man.
Yeah. So come to the group, man. What's the next group?
Our project is called No Longer an Island. You know, because basically the whole purpose of the groups is, you know, we try to make a space where, you know, people can come and be real and authentic.
Over his 3-year tenure with Walnut Way, Terron has formed 4 different men's groups that meet in different locations throughout the neighborhood. The groups are closed and confidential to provide a safe, non-judgmental space for healing, building, and growth. During this film, we will provide a rare glimpse into our world, our circle, our bridge. This group meets at the Walnut Way Community Center about once a month. The men in the wellness groups are about as different as they are the same. For example,
yes, my name is Timothy Ferguson.
You have the real estate agent.
A great program for me, you know, a group in a session. I mean, group in a sense, because it's just kind of, we just kind of go there and kind of share with one another. But initially going, you know, nobody made me go or anything. That I just kind of got that information through I was working in this building, and then that particular entity was in that building, so that's how I connected with them. But I'm gonna tell you, you know, it's positive, making progress is really giving me strength and hope. And brothers through there has given me strength to make it, man.
My name is Christopher Harris, and my rap name is C Mills.
The popular local rapper.
In Milwaukee, I also do lots of work in the community, and I also got my own food drive that I do every month, giving food to families in the community.
My name is John Ozier. I'm 51. I have 4 sons.
The tech genius.
So you had that option. I was actually, though I had that foundation, I found myself to be in prison at one time. for the wrong mistakes that I've made, but I've used that. I use that as an avenue to get to youth who may be going that way or who've actually experienced themselves. I got an education while I was incarcerated. I got a degree while I was incarcerated. And when I got out, I continued that education. To this day, I actually spent a lot of time teaching inner city kids software engineering because I feel that we have to bridge that divide between our people and get them involved in stuff that would earn them an honest living.
My name is Tony Velez. I'm 45 years old. I have 7 children.
The community dad.
Being mentors to everyone. I volunteer my time through the neighborhood. I rarely charge for anything. I love being at the Boys and Girls Club, like I said, Walnut Way here, Lindsay Heights.
My name is Rodney Daniels.
The young blood.
I like to help the community. I'm passionate about building a strong community.
My name is Ahmad Muhammad, and The Voice.
New day. It's a new time. Your voice needs to be heard. Chris' voice needs to be heard. Rodney's voice.
The men's groups always open up with a good, healthy meal brought from a local collective restaurant and a relating opening exercise. Tonight's exercise is called What Are You a Rookie and What Are You All Madden At? Based on the popular video game Madden NFL Football.
Right away I'd say what I'm a freshman at. Business management.
This exercise helps with breaking away the walls we put up and deal with vulnerability. There is always a lesson about generations too.
You know, one thing that Amia and myself got in common with a lot of the men, you know, from the neighborhoods and from the groups is, you know, a lot of us grew up without our dads. You know, Amir, you know, he went through a situation, get, you know, bounced from foster homes and all that, you know, but more specifically me, you know, my father was murdered before I was 10 years old, you know, so I had to deal with that. In fact, you know, that's how myself, you know, me and my mom got to Milwaukee is, you know, we had to pick up and move from Michigan, you know, because, you know, my dad was the sole provider, you know, no matter how he got it, you know, he was the sole provider. But, you know, my dad was also, you know, a good father. You know, in some ways, you know, he's a good father in a lot of ways when he was here with me. But, you know, he robbed the world of himself. You know, he died before he was 30 years old. So a lot of this work that I do is about breaking cycles. You know, it's funny, you know, full speed, full circle to myself, and, you know, what kind of took me out of my funk, because I went down the wrong path for a little while, was I became a dad myself when I was a teenager. And I had to become a better man for my son.
My son used to sit on my lap and play, and now, man, this is crazy because he can beat me. You know, but it's funny, the reason he can beat me is because I don't have time to stuff like that. You know, but so yeah, so I understand that. You know, you taught him how to play. I taught him how to play.
Our facilitator uses personal experiences to teach.
So how you, from 25, 30 years from then to right now, could, you know, consider us dogs? You want to be that man.
That dog.
You know why?
It's going on, you know, when you're over capacity and don't have enough food to feed, you know, we're going to start one right next door.
You know, we talk about this all the time. We can have a space like this on every block in this neighborhood.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is that I just found out that my dad,
The young black male in Milwaukee, or, you know what I'm saying, where I'm at, I feel like I'm targeted as far as the power of a black man and how people perceive a black man, and how is vivid how you take the black man out of the household. It's vivid how you mass incarceration, how all the black fathers and the uncles are in jail, are dead. And I feel like just growing up and becoming a man from a young man, I feel targeted. I feel like people start to look at you different as you grow up.
The group talks about breaking cycles. My Abi, my dad, and I gotta say this, and I ain't ashamed of him, he was a pimp, a straight up pimp. I found out later when I was adult, the men and people that was in the street, they knew him as Fast Freddy. I was cracking up when I first heard that, man. I was like, Fast Freddy, that's what y'all call my pops, man? So one thing I used to do is to pray not to be like my dad, taking advantage of women, out here, wilding out. Some people just love to willy out. My father was low key, but he was violent, man. But one thing I gotta say for him is this. I got 4 other siblings. Me and my sister, Alia, we are his biological children. But the other 4 never knew that wasn't their dad. They never didn't know that wasn't their pops, because he treated us all not the same, but he didn't make no differences. So I love that in him, man. And creating legacy.
My bridge to black men in this city is to find out who you are. And don't use anyone else's examples as your examples. You make your own examples to help yourself so that you can be better for someone else in your life.
In the group circle, you are no longer an island. You have a bridge. You are a bridge. But what happens to our men in those weeks between these circles?
That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. Real talk. That's how I'm feeling. Real talk. That's how I'm feeling. Real talk. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling.
Fatherhood, it basically just means just being there for your kids, you know what I'm saying, giving them a lot of knowledge. Sometimes we're less fortunate, we might not have money to give our kids, but if you can give them knowledge to make it through what you've been through, then that's what I see fatherhood as, is playing with your kids, just doing everything with your kids, you know what I'm saying, giving your kids all your attention, no matter what.
Front line, and it's crunch time. You need a ball like Mike when he was up in his prime. I kill him on the course and I'm killing him through my rhymes. The city up on my back, they telling me it's my time. I've been waiting for this shit like a nigga plotting the crime. I knew that this was coming, I speak it into existence. Everything that I think of, I put it up on the list. My music is online, or you could come get a disc. It's that heat from the streets, y'all ain't really ready for this.
Feel My Pain movement is basically what I've seen, what I've been through, you know what I'm saying, what I'm trying to get people to do. So it's basically just feel my pain. Like I seen my mama struggling, we had eviction notices on the table, she was in the coma. So that was a lot of pain for me, you know what I'm saying, stuff that I never been through or seen, so you know what I'm saying.
I get it with all my bros. My album is coming soon in the streets and the stores. No more talking about it in the fam, it's crunch time. Crunch time, crunch time, crunch time, crunch time. I gotta get it, my nigga, you know it's crunch time. Crunch time, crunch time.
And just coming up and never being through nothing, so seeing my mama go through that, and she was the head of the household, so that kind of put a lot of pressure on me as a man, so you know what I'm saying, I went through a lot of pain with that. Just wanting to commit suicide, not wanting to live no more, you know what I'm saying, that was a lot of pain in my life, so eventually I started taking my thoughts and putting them on paper, so I became a rapper in 2008, you know what I'm saying, I started writing music, just writing what I was going through, what I was feeling.
Like, what's that smell? Don't trip, you know I got you on my trapper, always trapping, keep it on them cause he trap a lot. See, Mill's a rapper, always rapping, she'll be signed with Rap a Lot.
Away from our circle, Lindsay Heights is continuously building bridges. Located in the Walnut Way's newly built Innovation and Wellness Commons is The Juice Kitchen, a locally owned organic juice bar that builds bridges of health and has fast become a community staple.
Hi, my name is Nigeria Riggins, and I'm here at the wonderful Juice Kitchen. I have the Let It Flow with avocado. I asked the owner, Manan, what could I put in my body to help with mental health? Because I've been going through a lot lately, and I just wanted to get my mind right. So he recommended something with avocado and coconut oil, and that's why I got the Let It Flow.
Manan Sabir, M-A-A-N-A-A-N, last name Sabir, S-A-B as in boy, I-R. So I'm the co-owner, juice creator at the Juice Kitchen. I am also a community activist. So I like to be active in the community and wherever I live to make sure that people are taken care of from rooter to the tooth.
Manan has been a part of the Men's Wellness Project since the start. As a founder of the Men's Wellness Council, he worked very closely with Terron for a time, but resigned at Walnut Way to pursue his goal of becoming a full-time business owner. Nowadays, Manan still embodies men's wellness by supplying healthy food and employing people from the neighborhood. Manan Sabir is a bridge.
The reason why we didn't make it into a sub shop, we could have made it into a number of things. Actually, you know, we weren't going to do a juice kitchen. We were going to, you know, we had a few options. One was move out of Milwaukee, you know, and you know, just live in the country and grow some fruit, vegetables, whatever it was. There was other options of having a food truck here in this neighborhood, and I'm just moving it around Milwaukee. But what our goal and love and passion is for the Lindsay Heights community to have people that come from this community to raise it up on a pedestal and a banner that people can feel proud of.
Over my life at least 10%, y'all, no lie. The juice, the push-ups, Manan pushing me through. Manan changed my attitude, seriously. You know, stop me from being bitter, for real, stop me from being bitter, stop me from looking back, looking forward.
Every Tuesday in the Juice Kitchen is Push-Up Tuesday. Since health is wealth, if you can do enough push-ups, your juice is free.
We got Emmett in the building. He's doing these burpees. We got Push-Up Tuesday at the Juice Kitchen. On the ones and twos, Juice Kitchen, baby.
Our film's director, Carvell, even got in on the action.
He's at the Juice Kitchen. He's doing push-ups.
Economic opportunity and good living space are equally as important components of wellness as good food and exercise. Blue Skies Landscaping is a fully functional landscaping business started by Walnut Way that both beautifies the city by turning abandoned lots into tranquil parks and provides living wage jobs to residents of Lindsay Heights. Blue Skies currently has 2 fully functional crews that work contracts all over the city of Milwaukee. There are at least 5 men from the group that work with Blue Skies, like Tony Velez, who away from the circle is the leader of a Blue Skies crew.
Jeff Henderson. I work for Walnut Way Conservation Corporation / Blue Skies Landscaping Program. I started off a few years ago. I started off as a crew member, and now I'm a supervisor. A lot of things had transpired from from me being homeless, and a gentleman by the name of Terron and Manan Sabir, Terron Edwards walked up on my doorstep, man. At the time, I was whitening my teeth. I couldn't talk, so all I was able to do was give them hand signals and nods, and pretty much write on the paper. I jumped out there on faith. You know, me personally, I never really talked to people that just walk up to my doorstep. He pretty much almost was left outside, but God told me to come to the door, and I walked to the door through faith.
Jeff is another of the men that came to Blue Skies through the men's groups. Since Jeff has joined the team, he has moved up and is now a crew leader himself. Jeff has brought in other men from the neighborhood seeking something different. He is a bridge to many other younger men that know him and have seen him change over the years for the better, including one of his younger brothers. Blue Skies is a bridge.
I have a brother that's a member of their group, and it's a very nice group. You know, sometimes I get to go out and see my own brother doing something positive, put a good thing in my mind, but I can go out there and do something positive.
You know, our project got a lot of allies, like Jeremy. You know, Jeremy has been with Blue Sky since it started. You know, he's the guy, he's over all the crews. You know, and he's seen the transformation of both the men and the neighborhoods just through firsthand experience.
My name is Jeremy Davis, environmental specialist at Walnut Way.
So Walnut Way's Blue Skies Landscaping is a program that was started in 2012. Walnut Way's mission is to sustain an economically diverse and abundant community in 3 ways: civic engagement, environmental stewardship, and creating venues for prosperity. So recognizing that we want to do good work in the community is not only the physical spaces that you see around you, but it's the main thing that forms a community is the people. So what we try to do is we try to engage residents of the neighborhood, residents of the communities to restore it and bring it back to life. So you met Jeff Henderson, who is a landscaper extraordinaire and our Bobcat machine operator. Jeff came to us a few years ago through the men's programs, actually. So he was engaged through Terron's programs and was interested in employment. So we were able to hook up with him and get him some steady work. And one of the first places that he actually got to work was across the street here at Sunshine Park on 14th and North, which is on the block that he grew up.
Walnut Way met Jeff and many other men from the group through their neighborhood outreach that they call Porch to Porch. The outreach is called Porch to Porch because Amia and Terron literally knock on doors and go to porches of houses introducing themselves and the men's project.
Hey, I know he was gonna be over here, man. Man, how you been, man?
Man, maintaining, man. You know these Caucasians, man. They play a dirty game, man. They always, you know, when I get my foot in, man, I'm starting to gain stability, man.
Well, tell me they locked you up.
Yeah, they locked me. They pulled the rug from my foot again, man.
That's where you been at.
That's what I was telling y'all about how they wait till they see me gaining stability. They see me, you know, saying get my life on track. Then they just take the rug and say, and I'm always out here shaking and moving, man. I'm already doing what I need to do for the community, man. You know, being out here being an active force, man.
But look,
you know,
if it's still hard, man, the group's still open.
For sure, man. That's what's up, man. You know, I'll be there, man.
Brothers been asking me about you too past month. You know what's up?
Yeah.
You know, we can do that.
Left a positive impact on them brothers, man. You know, them brothers know that I be keeping it 100, man. You know, I don't be in there playing around, man. You know, I be out here doing what I'm supposed to do out here, and when I'm in front of y'all, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do for sure.
So we right back at it. We right back at it after the holidays. You know, after Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's, all that. We're gonna be right back on it, man. For 17, man.
Sounds great. I'm all for it. I'm with it, man. All you gotta do is give me a call
Man,
and let me
you
know.
make sure your number on.
Yeah, man.
You just make sure the number on.
Long as I don't get no new stalkers, man.
You got the number, right?
Yeah, I see that.
Cool. I'm becoming a fighting celebrity, man. I don't get no more stalkers, but I'll be okay, man.
I see that they're looking for love. You know, anybody that know me know that I'm all about that, and I see that love is needed in an immense way.
Throughout the year, the men participate in social activities outside of the circle. As commonplace, the men of the wellness groups challenge themselves and each other for the better. The latest challenge is participation in Walnut Way yoga class, something that all but one group member has never done before.
I'm Carl. It's actually my first time ever doing yoga. The only reason I came is because the brother called my phone, and my first thought was to be like, nah, man, I don't want to do that. But in this new year, I had planned to challenge myself and push myself. So it's something new and different. So I'm trying to try it and see, maybe it's something I like.
My shoulder just it's a little tight. I want to make it loose.
Yoga is one of the things, in the few times I've tried it, that has helped me kind of, wake up and not feel like I'm 90 years old. So
I'm here to gain strength, try to tweak some stuff that I haven't even tweaked before.
I'm Ben Watson. What am I gaining from this session? My back hurt, so I want to work on my back. I got a sciatic nerve, and it's been bothering me. I'm getting old, 47 now, trying to start off the year right, taking care of myself. Yoga is a passion of mine. I already practice Qigong, so I just said I added to my regimen. Spiritually, just relaxing, keeps that peace of mind, balance. But like I said, right now, immediate, my back.
I'm Lawrence. What do I hope to gain from yoga today? Just peace of mind and just stretching, knowing that you're getting older, parts keep not working like they used to, so just a bit of stretching and a peace of mind.
Outside the circle, Tim is a savvy real estate agent that works in partnership with Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company.
Right now I'm a real estate agent, so I've been doing some do some work with some banks in the federal government. God has allowed me and blessed me to be connected with them as well. So it's been a beautiful ride for me, but it hasn't always been that way. I had a divorce and some difficulties in my own life, and so through the help of Walnut Way and then also Fathers Making Progress, I've been have the support system that I need. Kind of keeps me grounded so that I can get to back what I really truly want to do, and that's giving back to other fathers in the community.
Tim is successful, positive, and a bridge to both his community and family, but it wasn't always that way for him.
And so it was just difficult, man. But I stayed with it, man, and it just kind of sort of came together, man. It wasn't even of my own doing, and it was like my daughters was having problems with moms, and so I had the availability, and I just stepped up to the plate, man. It wasn't even as if just like she just kind of said, like, here, you can take them, and so I was like, I did that, and I was coming to the groups every week because I know, and it's hard, difficult trying to raise a kid, and don't really know how to really, you really haven't been raised yourself, and so that's what Fathers Making Progress did for me, man. Kind of helped me to be able to bounce some things off other people. My brothers, man, we just got tight, man, so and we had functions and things that we went to, man, so it just gave me inspiration to continue the fight that I was having, not understanding difficulties, and my daughters being raised by their mom, and then their mom stepping into play even when I had them. It was hard. It was very hard, but I didn't give up, man, because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to show people, man, that truly I meant when I had my kids and all that I really wanted to be a good father.
Tim decided to stop being an island and use the bridge so he could be a bridge.
I just want to say to anybody who may view this video is that you can do it, man. You got to stay positive. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. You can cry about some things. You're going to feel frustrated. Want to be mad about it and take it out. But remember, your kids, your seed, your legacy is looking at you. You know what I mean? And so, that's really all what we have here. It's just a legacy, man. Once we do what we do, we try to instill some things in them so that when we leave, that they have what they need. So, I just want to say, man, I know, for anybody, man, that you can do it. You can get through it. You definitely need a support system, to help you to see things that you don't always see.
I'm struggling, I feel my pain. I've been in the struggle and rain for too long, too long, too long. Hey, yo, shout out to Black Diamond. I've been in the struggle and pain for too long, too long. When I'm not down, I might go. Yeah, I wanna live my life, and it's gonna be alright.
Thank you for calling Walnut Way. Amir speaking. How may I help you? Man, what's going on?
Having hard emotions to sort out after his brother's murder and wanting to continue to move forward positively, Rodney calls Amir. While Tim has it all figured out, away from the circle, Rodney has some decisions to make. The north side of Milwaukee can be a dangerous place, and trouble is always a moment away. Even if you have a bridge, Rodney lost his brother Javante just a few weeks ago to violence.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
How's the job going?
It's going good. I just came through. I had to talk to y'all. I really need to talk to y'all.
For sure. For sure. You probably go in the conference room. Ain't nobody in there.
I can see in your face you going through it, man. What's up?
Man, it's crazy. Like, other than the stuff that's been happening with me You know, I've been working, I've been trying to get up on my feet, but it's just like every time it's something pulling me back or attacking my emotions and making me feel some type of way. And I feel like it's really holding me back, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know where to go to or who to go to really, you know what I'm saying, find clarity in this, you know. I was just coming to y'all because y'all, you know, my brothers.
Okay, for sure.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, man. What I think will help you out, man, you know, it's like you're going through a lot with that loss. Is that with the Tuesday night groups that we do? You know, you can come out tomorrow, man.
Yeah, tomorrow.
And at the Walnut Way house at 5:30, man, we're gonna be meeting, doing the man's group, and you'll find out that you ain't the only one going through something. You know what I mean? And you're gonna find out there's gonna be somebody going through something that you can pull some positive energy from, or some good methods from to move forward through this, man. I think that'll help you a lot, and also.
And some of the cats from the hood will be there, you know, Tom be there, John be there. They see Mills coming too.
And some of that yoga, man. Come catch some of that yoga Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
I think there's some strength in there too for you, man. Yeah, I think you should come to that. You should come to that.
I'll definitely check that out. So man, I'm glad I came and talked to y'all, man. Cause you know, sometimes your emotions get high.
Oh, for sure.
You could do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm so glad you. Hey, man, I feel privileged that you came in here and hollered at us, man. You know, instead of listening to everybody got them in their circle, man. I got them in my circle. I'm sure me got them in his circle. You know, some folks will tell you all the wrong things with all the best intentions.
And at the end of the day, man, that's what we here for. You know what I mean? Like that's what we hang our hat on. You know what I mean? Reaching back, helping, and giving back. So if we can help in any way, man, we will. You know what I mean? So tomorrow, we'll see you tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Terron and Amia see men like this all the time, and their door is always open for brothers from the circle. The circle has developed smaller circles. C. Mills and Rodney met through the groups and have become good friends, finding that they have many things in common. One of the things Rodney and C. Mills have in common is a love for hip-hop. C. Mills goes with Rodney to the studio to record some music to blow off some steam.
Sorry, I'm not easily impressed. From a youngin' who had nothing, I believe in having less. Stressing about the struggle, youngest dying for the set. In the city where they killing, got us fighting for what's left, love. So we grinding to the grave. All about the money, but still mentally in chains. Times is for the conscious, we still spiritually enslaved. Open up your eyes, the only way to make a way, love. The only way.
It is time for another meeting of our circle. The group hasn't officially met in a couple of months due to the holidays, but is now going full time again. Some men have seen each other outside the circle at other events. Some have just come back into the fold. A few are missing tonight due to other obligations. The group opens with a check-in exercise from Terron.
A highlight for you since the last time we seen you. Since last time we've been in the space. So a highlight since last year. A highlight. One start.
Another highlight, I am now Dr. Ozier. My diploma came in the mail.
What?
Right now. I worked real hard at that to graduate from Stanford, so I finally finished.
My name is Carl Wesley, 38 years old. This is my first time enjoying the space with you all. Rodney and I work together, so he invited me tonight, and I'm excited about the possibilities. For me, my highlight is waking up every day. I think there's always a possibility as long as I open my eyes.
That's right.
Father of two, a 19-year-old and a 5-year-old. The highlight of since the last time we were in this space was I got a chance to go to the Kwanzaa celebration for the past, for the 7-day stretch, and just seeing that people are starting to wake up. That's the highlight. Seeing that people are getting more in tune with our own culture. You just have to, just be here in this space.
Yeah, when a man takes care of his own, I can just say to family. I always said a man is greater than his family. A man is greater. A man is really a part. If we really look at it, how we're taught in America is that you take care of you, your family.
Fuck America. America don't got nothing to do.
But
America don't got nothing to do.
Let me finish. A true man is supposed to take care of the race first.
Because they need to know who I am.
DeAndre G, or Speedy, as the neighborhood calls him, is the black sheep of the family, but he is as real and genuine as he is loud. Speedy is a longtime Lindsay Heights resident that was self-professed part of the problem. He has now made changes in his life, is working in community organizing with a community uplifting group.
Certain situations that I'm going through, I can come here and I'll be at ease because people already speak up on it, meaning like they already know what's going on. So when they speak up on it, I adapt to it. So now, as me being who I am, you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna state that because we're recording, but if you know who I am, you know who I am. And that's who I'm gonna be, and I stand on it. You know, and I'm with the movement, I'm with the man's group, I'm with all of success.
Why? Because I walk upright. I stand on my manhood, and I stand on righteousness, man. I stand on this unconditional love that's going on right here, this unity. I stand on this, man, daily. And when y'all see me in the community, if I'm lying, pull my coattail. If I'm faking in front of y'all, man, don't let me fake in front of y'all and then get out to the community and do something different, carrying a gun, selling drugs, you know what I'm saying, doing these things that I'm talking about I don't do. If y'all catch me doing it, pull my coattail.
We in a having kid generation right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because it's a breakdown in the home, and we quick to blame the schools, we quick to blame society. No, the blame to me lies as a parent. You know what I'm saying? I got 4 kids right now. All my kids are grown. I have 3 at home right now. But I always tell my boys.
Can I say something real quick? The problem don't lie with the parent. It lies with the community, I think.
Well, it start with the parent, though.
Like, it start with the parent, but it take a cause. It take a community, a village.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get into something else.
You need to pipe down. All the cameras on me. My time to shine now. I'm going crazy. I lost my mind.
That following weekend, Walnut Way participated in a Northside charity basketball tournament hosted by Lindsay Heights Alderman Russell Stamper Jr. The Walnut Way team itself was a combination of Walnut Way staff like Terron, the men from the groups like Albert and Tony, and because of his basketball pedigree, Amir served as player coach. Team Walnut Way wins its semifinal game over the Kickball League North, advancing to the
Hey, you know, this is a fun event for charity. You know, man, our guys here, you know, our men from the groups, from the neighborhood, you know, we all here. I got my mouthpiece because these cats be hacking.
We have to talk.
Yeah.
It don't matter where we live. He came in right away. He said, hey man, I got him. Somebody else community said, no man, I got him.
Gang, I'm proud of y'all, man. You know, we came together, man. This is brotherhood. This is what Walnut Way is all about. This is what men's wellness is all about. You know, we not honest, man. You know, we out here, man, together, man. And you know, we want to keep this going after this game too. You know, defense all 3. 1, 2, 3. Defense!
And the finals are set. The Goliath Running Rebels versus the Ragtag David Walnut Way. Running Rebels is a partner organization in the neighborhood and has a strong focus on youth sports and has produced most of the finest basketball players in the city, sending them to Division I colleges and in a few cases, the NBA.
Whatever you want to do, spiritually, whatever it be, I'm coming straight at you. Cause Apollyon sick, meant to burn all them haters.
Even with our men displaying such a valiant effort, midnight came for Cinderella, as Running Rebels took a late lead, winning the game and the tournament. In the end, it's about sportsmanship, wellness, brotherhood, and building a bridge. There is an African proverb and philosophy called Ubuntu. I am because we are. A person is a person through other people.
I consider myself a bridge because I'm open. I listen a lot better. I have been through things. I have 7 kids, so the mischievous.
The solution to the problem is in the problem. So if you want to balance the equation and use mathematics, you got to really look at the problem or the challenge or the barrier that's being faced. Then just pull it apart and then balance it out.
So that's why we have these groups. That's the power of these social spaces. And, I'm just really happy to see this project grow and see so many men be able to be bridges to each other, and see us be able to be bridges to each other in different ways. This has just been real solid. I just feel blessed to be a part of this and blessed to have something to do with putting this together. This is like a, lifetime legacy. Like if I was to die tomorrow, God forbid, because then my wife be stuck with those bad kids. I won't, I'll feel good that this will be tied to my name.
I see it, but I won't stop. See it, but I won't stop. I hear it, but I won't stop. Hear it, but I won't stop. Feel it, but I won't stop. Feel it, but I won't stop. A bridge I must connect. Bridge I must connect. I see it, but I won't stop. I see it, but I won't stop. I hear it, but I won't stop. I hear it, but I won't stop. I feel it, but I won't stop. I feel it, but I won't stop. A bridge I must connect. Bridge I must connect. Bridge I must connect. Bridge I must connect. Shine bright like a star, determined to be a clock. I know I'm not far. I see where I'm going. I see where I'm going. Yeah, to the world I feel unknown, uncomfortable. Energy in my zone, but I won't stop till I'm at the top of my throne. I know that's where I belong. No more being alone, no more being unknown, no more feeling inferior to the mass. Oh no, must show everyone we can connect, so I'll be superior and wear a S on my chest. I see it, but I won't stop. I see it, but I won't stop. I hear it, but I won't stop. I hear it, but I won't stop. I feel it, but I won't stop. I feel it, but I won't stop. Bridge I must connect. Bridge I must connect. I see it, but I won't stop. I see it, but I won't stop. I hear it, but I won't stop. I hear it, but I won't stop. I feel it, but I won't stop. I feel it, but I won't stop. Bridge I must connect. 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 To hunt my homies down, man, the struggle getting thicker. Rappers getting by with these gimmicks in their lines, and I'm sitting back like, damn, just give me a little time. I know I made mistakes, but it's my mistakes to make it. I make up for the hate with this love I create. My city universal, but I'm based up in the mill. That's Milwaukee for you people that ain't heard of my city still. This town that I'm taking you through, stretching for some miles. The road to redemption might be leading through your town. This is Bucktown, come around this Bucktown. This is Bucktown, where I'm from is Bucktown. This is Bucktown, now they made it Bucktown. This is Bucktown, so we go check it down. This is Bucktown, come around this Bucktown. This is Bucktown, where I'm from is Bucktown. This is Bucktown, now they made it Bucktown. This is Bucktown, so we go check it down. When the world start to tear you apart, Keep your heart, never let them see you sweat. That's a hell of a remark. Cause I done learned, I done burnt, I done died and came back. And now my flesh is armor, better arm your whole pack. Artillery, lyrically, whatever you wanna do. Spiritually, whatever it be, I'm coming straight at you. Cause Apollyon sick, meant to burn all them haters. The evil doers, you know who do it, somebody try to save us. Instead of all this talking, all this talking about your jewelry. No, I gotta get paid, but some people trying to ruin me. Fluently, evil lurks all over the planet. Some of y'all hate me now, cause my words across the planet. But you can't judge me, and I ain't trying to judge you either. But I can tell you it's real through these eyes that I see ya. I'm alone with no friends when it's time to get this money. Cause when they praying without you, praying to doubt you when they praying. This is Bucktown, come around, it's Fucktown. This is Bucktown, where I'm from, it's Bucktown. This is Bucktown, now they made it Fucktown. This is Bucktown, so they buck and shut it down. This is Bucktown, come around, it's Fucktown. This is Bucktown, where I'm from, it's Bucktown. This is Bucktown, now they made it Fucktown. This is Bucktown, so they buck and shut it down. Whether money, whether hope, they don't care. You get smoked when you're living on the ropes. Gotta survive and go for broke. It's a joke the way these politicians bicker when they meet and set their own agenda while we suffer in the suffer.
What we do know is that politics was put ahead of the public interest.
Okay, it's not hard. It really isn't. Go out, take care of business, get a job, get an education, gain some experience, and be successful. It is the American formula for success. It has worked for 200 years, and it still works today.
Decisions don't come quick, but fuck all the dumb shit. Opinions that be biased keep America one split. The American scene was advertised to me, but I'm seeing Bucktown City looking far from free. Food stamps and trash, them dope fiends that fiend. Hate to wake you out of your sleep from that American dream. I'm on my own, so it's on. I'm gripping this life, and when that life getting heavy, I'm tipping this life. I mean, I hustle for mine, I got my mind on the hustle. If you ain't living in my